Well, what is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Today, on the table in front of us, we have a new knife from Kansept Knives. This is a Kim Ning design. This is the Spirit. And of the new knives that I've had the opportunity to check out, this is my favorite. I really, really like this knife. Now, Kansept is a new company. They spun off sort of from Kaiser, or at least a bunch of the people that used to work for Kaiser went off to do their own thing. So this is a Kim Ning design. It is S35VN. It is on ball bearing pivot. It has a beautiful titanium body. It is a frame lock, as you can see. And the overall design is just one of my favorite for sort of EDC. I love this sort of upswept Warncliffe, is that what we're calling it? Upswept sheep's foot?
Sorry. Yeah.
What did we decide? Yeah.
Some people say that.
It's almost cleaverish, and it's really very nice. Now, I know a lot of people don't love when they put deployment holes in the blade, but, you know, I like it because I like to have multiple forms of deployment. The flipper on this never fails. It's very nice. The overall knife is very comfortable in hand. It is well designed. And as I said, it is just one of the new knives from Kansept. Now, how did I get it? Well, I actually reached out to Kansept and asked if they would be nice enough to share some stuff with me to review. They said yes, which I thought was really, really very cool and kind of unexpected. I mean, I'm just a little channel, but their generosity means that I've got cool stuff to look at and to share with you, and I think that is rad. Let's do some size comparisons. Here it is against our old friend, our ancient friend, the Benchmade Bug Out. As you can see, it is considerably larger than the Bug Out. And here it is against the Rat Model 1, but not just any Rat Model 1. This is a Hilltop Knives and Gear modded Spidey Rat. And I love this guy's work. BJ does fantastic work. Look at that. This will be, going forward, my new large knife comparison tool for quite some time. He put this choil in here, put the Spidey style hole, acid washed the blade, dyed out the scales. It's just gorgeous, and I get to use it for a size comparison knife, and that makes me super happy. But as you can see, the Spirit here is smaller than the full-size Rat 1, and of course larger than the Bug Out. It is a really nice EDC size. Having carried this for a while, it actually rapidly became one of my favorite knives to drop into the pocket, and it's primarily because of this blade shape. Look, anything you want to do during the day in a good steel like S35VN, this blade shape lends itself beautifully, and as you can see, it is a thick chunk of S35VN. It comes to a very nice point, just in case, you know, maybe gas station argument goes awry, I don't know. But because of the blade shape, man, every day from just basic cutting tasks, you know, packages, tape, whatever, to harder cutting tasks, and even into the kitchen, because of the way this thing is designed, this is a fantastic overall design. Now, it does have some funky elements that you may or may not love. This sort of jimping along the spine of the blade, which isn't anywhere that your thumb lands when it's flat, but for push cuts, you know, your thumb rolls a little bit off to the side. It does give you a little bit of purchase. It's very nice. There is nowhere to bring your finger forward. That is a sharpening choil only. Although you could, if you really had to, grab hold of this if you were just trying to press in a little bit, but I don't recommend it. The pocket clip on this knife is really well done. It's not massively deep carried, but it's not a ton of knife sticking out either. And of course, the integrated lanyard hole in the backspacer, which is also titanium, by the way, is really well done. It doesn't interfere with anything. Because of this little, you know, the way that it sits into the palm, it's very, very comfortable, and so it doesn't interfere. It's very clean and straightforward design. They make, I don't know, 4 or 5 different variations of this, including one with no hole, lots of different stuff. That is one thing that Kansept does a lot of. They'll make a model of the knife, a particular model, and then they'll make 4 or 5 or even 6 varieties of that same model. I think that's very cool. I, of course, am a plain titanium guy. So the simpler the better for me, but if you're interested in more complex designs, they make them, which is very, very cool. Let's go ahead and weigh this thing out. It doesn't feel particularly heavy. Now, before we do that, I know how to talk, watch me go. Let's get some basic size measurements out of the way here. The blade length is 1 2, 3 and a half on 3.5 inches of S35VN, which is a really nice blade length. The grip area from just behind the flipper is 1, 2, 3, 4 full inches. So there's plenty of knife there, right? But it's not so big, I think, as to be awkward for someone with smaller hands. The overall length of the knife from tip to tail, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and a quarter inches overall. Lands, for me at least, in just about the perfect EDC size. For some of you, it might be a little big, but then a lot of the knives on my channel are probably a little big for most of you. That's okay. Let's take a look at the weight while we've got everything out here. The action on this knife is really, really good. I haven't taken it apart or cleaned it. This is exactly as it came from the factory. It is smooth. I just really dig it. All right, let's see how much it weighs. 4.7 ounces, which is below 5. It's a little higher than the inch per ounce that a lot of EDC people really seem to get into. For me, it is a really excellent pocket weight. You know it's there. It doesn't drag down on your jeans. It's very nice. I really like it. Let's talk about the flipper a little bit. You know, I guess the argument would be that the way this hangs in the pocket, right, it's sort of this way, that the flipper's kind of out of the way. But the truth of the matter is that when these things hang down your pocket, they pretty much go straight no matter what you do. So this is a little bit of a pocket stabber, but it is knocked down really nicely done. So there are no sharp edges. I wouldn't want it banging on the face of my phone or anything, but it's not going to scratch anything, which is really nice. I mentioned that it's a fairly thick chunk of S35VN. Let's take a look at that now. I know how to work my own tools. I swear I do. No, I really have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. From the thickest point back here, where are we? Let's grab a bite. We are just at 4 millimeters, just a little tiny bit under 4 millimeters of S35VN, which is really nicely done. The handle itself, at its thickest point, is just about 13 millimeters, or just a little smidge over a ½ inch, which makes for a very comfortable grip. Now, it does have this single choil up here at the front where your sort of index finger indexes, conveniently. There's a little bit of a rise here, but that doesn't really interfere with anything. It just makes for a very comfortable overall grip. I had this knife in my pocket when I was doing some property management stuff for my family, and I ended up using it in the garden a little bit, and it worked phenomenally well. And in short, in any application that I had or desired of this knife from the time that I've had it, it has done a really good job. And really, in the end, that's all that matters. Now, stylistically, I get it. It's not going to be for everybody. But, you know, knife companies can't all make just a knife, right? I mean, they could, but then we'd only have one knife each. Style counts. And for me, at least, this one has got a fair amount of style, but in a really good way. The clip is ambidextrous. There are holes for it on both sides, but this clip can't be swapped. So you'd either have to order a left-handed clip from Kansept, or the clip would face the wrong way on the knife. I'm not really sure what that's about. There was not a left-handed clip in the box. I thought there might have been, but upon digging into it, there wasn't. So while there is space for lefties, there is not a clip for it. So that's something that if you're a lefty, you'd have to look into with Kansept. And I think, even though it's kind of short, that's where we're going to wrap this up. The Kansept Spirit is an excellently well-made knife. I don't know how many of you have had many Kaiser knives, but they are actually sort of the knife company that got me into higher-end knives. A couple of years ago, you could get a lot of Kaiser for a couple of $100, and so one of their main designers was Kim Ning, and he has moved on to, again, his own thing here, and he brought with him a lot of that same flavor and feel. These knives feel very good, and they are a couple of $100, you know. Some of them 150 to 190. This one I think is 200 and a little bit. But you get what you pay for, and what you get is a well-sorted and well-thought-out pocket knife in a unique and interesting style that looks really good and yet works very well. And that is where we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Kansept Spirit. It's been my pleasure to have you here. If you have any questions about this knife or any of my knives, feel free to ask down in the comments below. Take care, guys.